Welcome back to the Straw Hat Duo. My name's Charlie, and today we're going over chapter 1082 of One Piece, titled Let's Go and Claim It. In this chapter, we get the fated return of Sabo, finally. So, he's not dead. We'll get into more of that towards the end of the chapter, but to start out with, the cover page story is Chopper mistaking Zeus for cotton candy and trying to take a bite. Start out with the chapter, we learn about a off-screen death, actually. And this off-screen death was none other than Vice Admiral T-Bone, who was apparently adored by the citizens and Marines alike. It took me a while to remember him. When I saw the picture of him, I'm like, that's right. He's the one that was on the tracks way back in Water 7 that Zoro kind of fought and then jumped back on the train and left. He's dead, apparently. In the newspaper, it says Vice Admiral T-Bone killed. We see Sengoku and Tsuru. They're talking about it. Sengoku actually brings up a really good point here. And it's something that kind of weakens the Marines. This bounty system put out by the Cross Guild. That's actually what happened. A citizen, wanted the payout from the Cross Guild, so they killed T-Bone. I believe they just stabbed him in the back, caught him completely off guard. We see the guy who did it later on. It's an old man. He was desperate for money. Sengoku says, what's the world coming to? The citizens we've sworn to protect are stabbing us in the back. And Tsuru mentions pirates aren't the only ones interested in money. If Marines have bounties on their heads now, it's only natural for people to come after them. End of the day, money's money. Doesn't really matter if you're being protected or not if you can't survive to eat. She actually mentions where it happened, especially in a place like Pepe Kingdom where over 1,000 people die of starvation every year. It's no wonder he was killed there. Poverty and wealth, we all adapt to our own circumstances. So she's got a point. Now she also goes on to mention, she's not trying to defend the culprit. It's just worth noting that Buggy kind of threw this whole thing out there. That's the reason why all this is happening. Sengoku adds a little last word in about that whole thing. It's like, how can you protect and serve the people if you constantly have to look over your shoulder when you're around them? And that's a good point. And I imagine Oda will probably go into situations where an island is under attack, a protected island by the Marines are under attack. They get word of, hey, it's a really big name pirate. So they send a vice admiral or something like that. And the citizens, it was all just a setup. They send them into a trap, they kill them, collect the bounty, and guess what? They're just richer now. They're now allied and protected by the Cross Guild. You'll see that a little bit later on in this. And what are the Marines going to do? They're going to punish that one person, not all the citizens there. I'm sure Oda will go into situations like that, and it'll be definitely pretty interesting. He mentions, if trialize the Cross Guild group soon, this will kill the morale of every Marine and weaken the whole Navy. Good point. Marines like Kobe will start to have to go in and be cautious of their own people. Like Fisher Tiger, actually. This is a good example of it. Fisher Tiger returned Koala to her country, but got turned into the Marines by the same people because it was a payout. So the same general thing's going to happen. Granted, Fisher Tiger was a pirate, but he was a pirate acting for the sake of good for that town. So the same general things are going to happen. Sengoku kind of changes the subject now and goes, and Hina's walking by. Hey, Hina, have you seen Garp? There's a new rice cracker flavor I want him to try. Hina, nonchalantly mentions, he mentioned a few days he was going to go save Kobe. He's probably teamed up with Sword. Pretty sure Kujaku's with him, at least. And Kujaku, if I remember correctly, is Tsuru's granddaughter. So she perks up and both of them go, what? Don't tell me they've gone to Hachinosu. So then we cut over to the Cross Guild's island, Empty Bluffs in the New World. What a name for the island. I didn't even realize that. I'm not sure if it's been mentioned before. I'm sure it has, but Empty Bluffs. Story of Buffy's life. We hear people congratulating somebody on making it to there. Be proud the emperors of the underworld are smiling because of you. Talking this guy up, same as he talks himself up. And we actually finally get to see the person, and it's just a shriveling old dude. I heard my family received the payment, so it is actually crazy that they're actually sending out the payments. Getting started up like this, they need to send out the payments, but I could imagine there's going to be times where Buggy's like, we don't need to send out the payment, and those little slips in the cracks is going to come up to bite him in the butt. I fully expect that. That is Buggy's MO. Buggy is constantly causing his own failures. The old guy thanks him. Buggy goes, don't mention it. You took down the AVHQ's finest vice admirals. Keeps going, you're evil charisma incarnate. Stop being so humble. So we see Buggy there. He's got his whole like cape get up jumpsuit type thing. So when he breaks apart, he looks bigger than what he is. And the old guy here is like, even if I can't see my family again, it's better than watching them die of starvation. This is an interesting situation. Obviously, in the world's eyes, the Navy can't go after the guy's family. That's what pirates would do. So they have to go after the person who did it. And the person who did it is now being protected by the Cross Guild. So definitely an interesting situation. Buggy goes, don't worry, rest easy. We'll take care of you as a pirate. The old guy there, he's terrified by this. He's like, a pirate, and a bunch of pirates around him go, yeah, don't you get it? An emperor of the seas taking you under his wing, the bombastic clown himself, Buggy. He's on another level. Another one mentions, the 2-bit pirates you've met up until now aren't fit to lick his boots. Talking Buggy up more. And then it looks like the shipwright of Buggy's crew, and he mispronounces his name. I don't know if that's just typo or mispronounced name, but the shipwright comes in and says, sorry to interrupt you, Barley Sama. You're so fresh. Buggy gets pissed off at this. He's like, that makes me sound like some kind of cereal. But he then mentions, we finished a ship worthy of the Cross Guild. And then we have a small little one-panel flashback of Buggy telling Mihawk and Crocodile. Leave the ship to me. I've got some talented shipwrights under me. This, that, the other thing. And then they go out and he sees the ship and notices that the figurehead is a clown head with cross swords. His eyes pop out. He does the shocked, teeth popping out type thing. And he's like terrified of this. The shipwrights think that it's the greatest thing in the world because, they obviously idolize him. And then Mihawk and Crocodile appear behind him in the most menacing way. You expect us to use this thing? And mention as Buggy's turning around, just completely shaded over face, bawling his eyes out. They go, let's take this to the meeting room. There's a person standing outside of the meeting room that looks just like Rob Lucci. White suit, white top hat, and everything. We don't know when exactly this is taking place. This could be taking place same time period as Egghead is going on, or it could be a little bit before that. We then cut over to the meeting room, and we hear screaming coming from the meeting room. Crocodile and Mihawk are sitting at a table, and then you see above the table, on a hook, just Buggy's head, because obviously he can break himself apart, and he's all beaten to hell. Mihawk and Crocodile are sitting there talking business. Buggy's like, just kill me already, please. The pain. Crocodile mentions, the Navy's starting to understand the threat we pose, and the public awareness of the Cross Guild is growing as planned, but we need to have an unparalleled influence to form our utopia and become a strong military state before that. But before that, we need to establish, and Mihawk jumps in, our overwhelming power, right? Buggy was seen thinking in the background. He's like, this is wrong. This isn't how I wanted my life to go. And Mihawk goes, and in order to do that, we got to find a way to gather an enormous amount of wealth. Buggy, says, wealth? You're saying we need wealth and power, right? I may be out of line here, and I may know that you want to do away with me, but how can you call yourself pirates with schemes like that? You're doing this all backwards. Mihawk goes, what did this cockroach just say? Buggy continues on at this point. He's like, you must have heard by now. Red Hair's making his move now, too. We used to be on the same pirate crew together, but circumstances prevented us from going to Laugh-Tale with the others. And then he goes, now tell me, way back when, what did you guys want to be? And we have a small little flashback to when Buggy was younger, actually at the day of the execution, 24 years ago. When I failed with Shanks, he shone so brightly with potential, I knew I couldn't measure up to him, so I let go of my dream. And then we see here that Shanks told Buggy, I don't want to go to Laugh-Tale just yet. I'm not ready to go just yet, but I'm still going to be a pirate. That's why Buggy was like, no, you know what? I don't want to be in your crew. We want to go to Laugh-Tale immediately. Shanks is like, come with me, Buggy. Buggy does his normal thing. I'm not going to work under you, idiot, you coward. And then runs away going, you haven't forgotten, have you? It's your fault I lost my treasure map. Still haven't forgiven you for that. Better watch your back. Back in the present, he's like, that no good Shanks is finally making his move, but what good is it now? I don't know how or why, but somehow through luck or chance, we're back equal footing. And that's the way it is. I might as well go and say it. I want to be king of the pirates. That's pretty cool to hear Buggy kind of reinvigorating himself. We see Crocodile and Mihawk there looking more and more pissed off and annoyed. Buggy's like, wealth, power, why stop there when we can have it all? Let's go and claim the ultimate treasure. It looks like Crocodile here throws. Yeah, it's just a hook. It's not Crocodile's hook that Buggy's on. So we see a clip here where Buggy's head just goes flying, and it looks like there's a bunch of stuff on Crocodile's hook. So it looks like Crocodile hit him, sent him flying. It says, you think we're actually, playing pirates here? We don't have a clue, let alone a plan. You really expect us to go fight with... And Mihawk mentions this, do you really expect us to just go pick fights with Red Hair, Blackbeard, and Straw Hat? Buggy actually fires back now, showing some fight behind him. He goes, this is a scramble for the treasure. We only need to beat them. And then does something that could be very troublesome for him. He pulls out a transponder snail and starts talking to his crew. All the crew goes, listen up, man. When you became a pirate, what did you want to go out for? You wanted to sail out for the ultimate treasure. Well, that's what we want to do now too. It's time for us to finally go claim the One Piece. Mihawk and Crocodile are pissed. It looks like Crocodile is just stepping on Buggy's head trying to stop him, but we don't get anything past that. I imagine we're going to jump back to it. Buggy's going to be fine, because the crew is reinvigorated. I don't see Mihawk and Crocodile killing him just yet. I see a way of Buggy failing upwards. I don't know how they're going to get their hands on 3 of the poneglyph rubbings, or they could happen upon the flame-scarred person that apparently has the 4th poneglyph. So they could end up with that last poneglyph, which would make it them versus whoever tries to come claim it from them. Actually, in that case, it would have to be Shanks or Luffy, because Blackbeard, I imagine his poneglyph rubbings, he's going to keep on his island. Blackbeard grabbed his from Law, but I imagine Blackbeard's going to go back to Hachinosu. I could actually see Shanks going to meet Buggy. That would be interesting. Shanks Buggy meeting. It would technically be a meeting between emperors. Anyways, that's a topic for another day. Maybe we'll make a video next week on that. Maybe I'll see if I get Shayna involved in that. Anyways, so now we cut over to the Kambaba Queendom. And we see Ushiano, Haru, Gamble, and Jiron. They're the vice captains of the North, South, East, and West Army. We see them going, we see a ship out in the distance. One of them has like a bionic arm and is getting ready to shoot it. Gamble says, do you want to make a bet on it? I wager it's an enemy. The other one, Jiron, goes, sounds good to me. I'll put $1 mil on it being Sabo, making a safe return. He's right. It turns out that it's Sabo returning. We see Ivankov and Dragon there, and Gamble's like, I knew something was up when you said you'd bet $1 million. I ain't coughing up a single berry. Jiron's like, nah, I'll ring it out of you. They're going back and forth. He's like, you used those binoculars, didn't you? Seems like Jiron chews up the binoculars and eats them. He says, what binoculars? You can't get away with that by eating them. Anyways, we cut over to, welcome back, Sabo. Sabo's meeting with them. One with the bionic arms like, Sabo, I was just about to shoot you. Sabo's like, I'm glad you didn't. Everything okay? Were you worried? They're like, yeah, maybe a little. Sabo, you're safe. Me happy. Anyways, Sabo looks back and says, that's a Lulusian ship. Lulusia, you mean the country that vanished? He's like, yeah, I'll explain later, but for now, please help these guys. And the one chick, I don't remember what her name is. The one that I believe Ace helped in this cover story with the milk issue, and then also one that was there with Bello Betty. Bello Betty kind of amped up, and she ended up being kind of the leader of the army behind Bello Betty. Then we see Koala sit there, jump forward, start trying to kick him. She's like, you just went radio silent. How could you do that to us? He mentions now, sorry, I couldn't get my hands on an encrypted transponder snail. All my calls would have been monitored. So I used the 3-beat code to signal I was all right. You didn't hear? So apparently in chapter 1060, this is the chapter that Luffy finds out Cobra died and Vivi went missing Marie Joie. That's actually a good point. I'll bring that up in a second. Luffy mentions, Vivi is strong. She's got an adventure on her own. She'll be fine. Luffy wants to go save Vivi, and Zoro's like, remember Luffy? What'd you say when this happened to Ace? Until he was in undeniable danger you let live. This is the chapter that the Lulusia kingdom disappeared, got destroyed. Anyways, he says, usual 3-beat code to signal that I was all right. Didn't you hear? I wasn't even on Lulusia when it happened. Then Koala starts hugging him and goes, "Oh, you had me so worried. Sorry." And then Bello Betty goes, I remember you losers from Lulusia. You've come a long way. Real shame that happened to your homes. I heard you were hoping to join our cause. They're like, yes, we are. Bello Betty goes, first things first, go get some rest and we'll straighten you out after that. Then we cut over to Sabo meeting with Ivankov and Dragon. Heard about Kuma. Sorry we let everyone's work go to waste. Then Ivankov goes, so, Sabo, you don't want the captains hearing what you've got to say? Sabo goes, yeah, just hearing it could put your life at risk. There was some major trouble at the Reverie. I'll tell you what really happened at the Holy Land of Marijwa. And that's the end of the chapter. The truth comes to light is what the announcer says. This was supposed to be a break week. Obviously, Shonen Jump itself is on break, so this was just scans that came out. The official release will be on May 7th for us in the US. There will not be a chapter next week. There should be a chapter the week after. We don't know for sure, but there should be a chapter the week after. So that means the 14th, there should be a chapter coming out. I think I was actually right. We did get an update on Sabo. So that's cool. Probably go back to the Straw Hats at this point. We've had a few weeks without them. It's a good break between. So yeah, we'll probably have the Straw Hats again. And then after that, who knows where it'll go. This was an info dump chapter, I feel like. I enjoyed this chapter. It definitely wasn't as hyped up as all the other chapters, because the other ones have been emperors showing their power. This one was just Emperor showing an influence instead of power. It's going to happen, but Shanks and Buggy are going to be taken out of the race to the Pirate King. I don't know what's going to happen with it. I have a feeling that, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking the Straw Hats are going to somehow take out the Buggy Pirates, the Cross Guild, and that would be, I don't know who would fight Crocodile on that sense. Maybe Jimbei. I think Blackbeard will take out Shanks' crew somehow. It'll be dirty, backstabbing way, but it'll happen. I'm sure of that. That's a prediction for a long time in the future. For now, that's the end of this chapter. Let me know what you guys thought of it, and we'll see you in the next one.